Hey there, my stealthy cardboard boxes and codec callers. Today we're diving into the shadows of gaming history to unearth the legend of Metal Gear Solid. Remember when sneaking around in a video game meant more than just not running? Well, get your bandanas because we're about to revisit the game that turned tiptoeing past enemies into an art form. Did you know that this iconic game once had a feature so groundbreaking that it practically freaked players out? Well, stick around and we'll decode how a simple PlayStation game changed espionage forever.
I'm hiding in this box. No one suspects a thing.
Snake, I'm hanging up now.
No, wait. I wrote a song for you. It's pretty good. It goes like this. I love you.
Goodbye, Snake.
When Metal Gear Solid began its development journey in the mid-1990s, it wasn't just another project from Konami. It was a gamble to redefine a genre. The man at the helm, Hideo Kojima, wanted to create a game that merged cinematic storytelling with engaging gameplay, a concept that was revolutionary. So, how did Kojima do it? The answer lies in his unorthodox approach to game design and his commitment to narrative depth. Kojima was heavily inspired by Hollywood films, particularly the action and espionage genres. This influence is evident in the game's dramatic plot twists and complex character development, aspects that were almost unheard of in video games at that time. His vision was to create a game that felt like an interactive movie where players truly cared about the characters and their fates. The development of Metal Gear Solid was marked by technical innovations as well. Kojima and his team developed a new kind of gameplay mechanics centered around stealth rather than direct combat. This was a risky move as the dominant trend in video games leaned towards more direct, action-packed encounters. The stealth mechanics required a complete rethinking of enemy AI, leading to the development of complex patterns and behaviors for enemy soldiers who would react to sound and visual disturbances. Another groundbreaking feature was the use of voice acting and cinematic cutscenes to advance the story. Kojima insisted on full voice casting for the game, which was a significant investment. The inclusion of voice acting helped to immerse players in the story, making it feel more realistic and engaging. The game script was extensive, and recording the dialogue was like producing a film, pushing the boundaries of what was expected in a video game. But back in the shadowy corridors of Metal Gear Solid, the story isn't just a backdrop, it's the driving force. Set in a near future where geopolitical tensions simmer on the edge of nuclear catastrophe, the game introduces us to Solid Snake, a retired soldier called back into action to neutralize a terrorist threat from a rogue special forces unit, Foxhound. They have taken control of a nuclear weapons disposal facility in Alaska and threaten the world with a nuclear strike. The stakes? Let's just say they're sky high. But what makes the story truly captivating are the characters, each meticulously crafted with their own backstories, motives, and emotional depth. Take Solid Snake himself. On the surface, a tough, seasoned operative, but beneath that, a man wrestling with the morality of his actions and the specter of his own past. Then there's Meryl Silverborough, a rookie soldier who underlines the theme of battlefield innocence and the harsh reality of war. And let's not forget the enigmatic Revolver Ocelot, a master of manipulation with a penchant for dramatic duels. These characters and many more aren't just NPCs, they're the beating heart of the game's narrative. Kojima's storytelling technique is where the real genius lies. He uses in-game dialogues and cinematic cutscenes not just to advance the plot, but to delve more deeply into complex themes like ethics of genetic engineering, the consequences of unchecked military power, and the trauma of war. These themes resonate with the players, making the experience not only thrilling, but thought-provoking. The inclusion of multiple endings based on the player's choices was another well-received innovation that deepened the engagement. Your actions didn't just affect the gameplay, but could lead to totally different resolutions of the story, providing a powerful incentive to replay the game and explore its possibilities. And so, as we navigate through the dense narrative forest of Metal Gear, it becomes clear that this game did more than just entertain. It asked the tough questions. offered moral quandaries, and treated its audience with a level of respect seldom seen in video games. Onwards now as we sneak through the underbrush of gameplay mechanics, where we find ourselves in a world where stealth is king and being spotted is akin to a game over screen.
Oh, good evening, officer. What seems to be the problem?
It's game time, not hammer time, folks. The essence of the game is not in overpowering enemies, but in outsmarting them, navigating through the complex environments undetected. This approach was a stark contrast to the run-and-gun style prevalent in many games of this era. The core mechanic that set Metal Gear Solid apart was its use of a Soliton radar system, which displayed enemies' field of vision. This system required players to think strategically, planning each move with precision to avoid detection. Imagine playing a high-stakes game of red light, green light with armed guards. Yeah, that's a bit intense. Now, speaking of strategy, if you've ever been clever enough to sneak past the YouTube algorithm guards to find this video, why not drop a like and hit subscribe? It's easier than hiding in a cardboard box, and hey, it keeps you alerted to all our stealthy content drops. No codec required.
This is Otacon.
Hey, it's Meryl. You want to come over and do hand stuff?
I'm already in my car.
In addition to stealth, the game introduced context-sensitive actions, where the players could interact differently with the environment based on their position and status. This means hanging off of a ledge to evade an enemy, or hiding in a locker to let them pass. Each option provided a thrilling mix of suspense and relief, as players never knew when they might need to make a split-second decisions to remain unseen. The combat, when it occurred, was also strategic. Rather than just spraying bullets, players had to use the environment to their advantage, employing gadgets and weapons strategically. The game provided an array of tools from silenced pistols to stun grenades, each useful in different scenarios. This utility belt of gadgets encouraged creative problem solving rather than straightforward aggression. Boss battles, too, were unique encounters that often required more brains than brawn. Each boss had a distinct set of weaknesses and patterns that players needed to observe and exploit. These fights were not just tests of skill, but intelligence, patience, and sometimes just sheer willpower. Now let's move silently forward like Snake through the underbrush to when Metal Gear Solid slid onto the PlayStation in 1998. The sales numbers speak volumes, not just about the game's quality, but about the chord it struck with gamers worldwide. Initially, it might have seemed like just another blip on the radar, but soon it became clear this was no ordinary blip. Upon release, Metal Gear Solid quickly shipped over 6 million copies globally, making it one of the best-selling games on the PlayStation. These figures were a testament to its broad appeal, drawing in both hardcore gamers and those new to the stealth genre. It wasn't just about the numbers, though. The game was setting a new standard for what video games could be. Immersive, cinematic, and emotionally engaging. Critically, the game was a darling. It received widespread acclaim for its innovative gameplay, deep narrative, and high production values. Publications praised it for pushing the boundaries of video gaming as a medium, with many awards citing it as Game of the Year. This acclaim wasn't just a fleeting moment, it solidified Metal Gear Solid as a landmark in gaming history. But the cultural impact of Metal Gear was as significant as its gameplay innovation. It skyrocketed the stealth genre, inspiring a slew of titles that embraced sneaking over shooting. But its influence wasn't confined to gaming alone. Its narrative depth and complex characters broke new ground for storytelling in video games, proving that games could tackle complex themes and evoke deep emotional responses. The game's aesthetic and dialogue have permeated pop culture, inspiring references in films, TV shows, and other media. Phrases like
Behind D.
and the iconic exclamation point alert sound became part of the gamer lexicon, instantly recognizable symbols of the stealth genre. Now let's continue our covert operation into the hidden crevices of Metal Gear Solid, where it's clear that the game is as layered and intricate as the stealth tactics it champions. One of the most talked about Easter eggs involves Psycho Mantis, one of the game's most memorable bosses. In a display of breaking the fourth wall, Mantis reads the player's memory card and comments on the other games saved there. But the trickery doesn't stop there. Mantis also makes your controller move by activating the vibration function, simulating his psychic powers. This was not only a clever use of the PlayStation's features, but also a moment that left many players in awe of the game's innovative interactions. Another Easter egg, as mentioned earlier, is the ability to change the outcome of a key event through players' actions. If players resist the torture sequence without submitting, they save Meryl, a main character, but if they submit, she dies. This choice significantly impacts the game's ending, showcasing the depth and the consequences of players' decisions in the story. One last cool feature was the game's codec frequency, 140.07, which players can only find by looking at the back of the physical game CD case, where it was printed. This was a novel way of integrating physical game packaging into gameplay tactics, blurring the line between the game world and reality. And just like that, as stealthily as snake slinks into the shadowy mosses, we come to an end of our deep dive into Metal Gear Solid. We've snuck past enemy lines, decoded top-secret development tales, and uncovered hidden treasures buried within this iconic game. Now, keep your codec tuned and your cardboard box ready, because you never know when you'll need to go incognito again. If you enjoyed sneaking through the halls of Metal Gear Solid, click this video here to see more from the Retro Reload. And as always, thank you for watching.